Some proposed changes have daycare providers concerned. A flood of motor vehicle collisions have police issuing a caution. And local residents gather to honor Nelson Mandela. Good evening to you all. Thank you for being with us. Some childcare supervisors are worried about a recent decision by the Thunder Bay DSAB.
The Social Services Board recently voted to look for a third party to manage all resource teachers in the district. Today, they packed into a meeting of the board to express their concerns and inform members they were never consulted about the possible changes. Dennis Ward reports.
We felt that we couldn't fix the problem because we weren't made aware of the problem.
Colleen McBain was joined by more than a dozen daycare supervisors and resource teachers who expressed their opposition to a plan by the DSAB. They're asking the board to revoke an earlier decision to look for a third party to manage the district's 18 resource teachers. Those RTs work with children with special needs and their families.
They're so essential to the well-being of the children and their success. And for all of us in working in partnership to the betterment for the children, the RT provides, just so much value to their needs.
Daycare supervisors believe a new model would see resource teachers asked to travel around the district and work with different kids all the time. They also refuted statements made in the report to the DSAB. Little Lion CEO Marilyn Grudniski says they weren't even aware the vote happened.
We felt we'd been blindsided by that. We were called into a meeting and we were informed of a decision that was made, and we had not been consulted at all in that, and we just felt we needed to bring this forward because the DSAB needs to make informed decisions. We don't blame the DSAB board for the decision they made because they took that report on good faith. They assumed, I'm sure, that stakeholder consultation was done and research was done, and that just was not the case.
It appears as though the DSAB will hold off on looking for a third-party manager for up to a year. Some on the board admitted they didn't do their homework on the issue. Meanwhile, in a widely expected decision, the board appointed Bill Bradica as the DSAB's new Chief Administrative Officer. He's been acting CAO since March of 2012. Dennis Ward, TBT News.
Beanigan Incorporated is facing more fire code charges tied to rental properties it administers. The agency first found itself in trouble following a fire back in October at a home it owns on Balsam Street. Residents of that building were able to flee unharmed, but a charge was laid against Beanigan after inspectors determined there were no working smoke alarms inside. That discovery prompted an inspection of their other rental outlets. Thunder Bay Fire Rescue says it found 8 other instances where there were no operational alarms. Fire Chief John Hayes says such alarms are a vital component of Beanigan's mandate to provide safety and shelter to vulnerable families.
Thunder Bay's rental vacancy rate is on the rise. That's according to the latest numbers from the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation. Thunder Bay's vacancy rate has risen to 2.6% over the last year. That's up from 1.1% rental market vacancy rate in 2012, 1.7% in 2011. Warren Philp from the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation says that's due to a number of factors. A slowdown in the mining sector has left more apartments open to rent. The addition of a senior housing unit in the city has also taken away some members of the rental market. And the resale housing market has remained strong in our city, meaning more people may be buying homes.
People were, I think, quite concerned about a 1.1% vacancy rate, especially if you're looking for a unit. I mean, there's two sides of the coin here, right? There's the landlord and those people looking for rentals. So the increase in vacancies is, of course, good for those looking for apartments. But on the other side, landlords, wouldn't appreciate seeing vacancies increase because that goes right to their bottom line.
The average rent for a 2-bedroom apartment has also increased across the board in our city. In the North Ward, the price has gone from $871 to $913 a month. In the South Ward, where rent is cheaper, it went from $751 a month to $785. Overall, though, the rental increases are less than they were in 2012.
Resolute Forest Products is losing its forest stewardship certificate for the Black Spruce, Dog River, Matawan Forest north of Thunder Bay. That decision was made by the Rainforest Alliance, which acts as the environmental auditor for Resolute. The suspension begins January 1st and will prohibit Resolute from putting the FCS label on pulp, paper, and wood products from their Thunder Bay operations. Officials with Greenpeace say the suspension of the certificate will severely restrict the marketability of Resolute's products. Company officials say that move is related to Resolute's withdrawal from the Boreal Forest Agreement earlier this year. Spokesperson Xavier Van Chow says the Thunder Bay operations will continue as normal, and he says Resolute will work hard to have the certification reinstated within a few months. Right now, about 76% of Resolute forests are FSC certified.
Another hurdle has been crossed in the effort to bring back the spring bear hunt in Ontario. This afternoon at Queen's Park, Thunder Bay Atikokan MPP Bill Morrow introduced the legislation for a second reading and a vote. The spring hunt was cancelled by the Mike Harris government in 1999. Morrow says his bill is supported by the Northwestern Ontario Sportsmen's Alliance, along with many communities in the north.
Speaker, there is a tremendous amount of support for the bill in Northern Ontario, as you can imagine. Every municipality in my riding of Thunder Bay Atikokan has passed a resolution supporting my bill. The City of Thunder Bay, I want to thank them for it. The townships of O'Connor, Gillies, Conmee, Atikokan, Oliver Papoonge, and Neebing, as well as, Speaker, I would say hundreds of names that have affixed their signatures to petitions supporting Bill 114 that would bring about the return of the spring bear hunt.
Members of the Tories and the NDP accused Morrow of political opportunism, but when it came down to a vote, only a handful of MPPs voted against bringing back the spring hunt.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Nay. In my opinion, the ayes have it. I declare the motion carried. Second reading of the bill.
Bill 114 will now go to a general government committee for discussion and amendments before it comes back for a third and final vote.
After a long career spanning 4 decades in the Catholic school system, the board's Director of Education has announced her plans for retirement. Joan Powell has done almost every job possible in education during her career, from teacher to principal to superintendent, all the way to the top position with the Thunder Bay Catholic District School Board. Powell's been the Director of Education for 2.5 years. She says she has set up an action plan for her team at the board going forward.
Or it would be stay the course, because I think we have a really great plan in place right now. We have a board improvement plan that's very strong. We're working on a multi-year strategic plan that the incoming person will have some input into. But I think that if we continue to focus on the goals that have been set over the last couple of years, that will definitely lead to success.
Powell is set to retire in April of next year and says she is honored to have served such a great school system.
Thunder Bay Police are issuing a warning to local drivers following a rash of collisions over the past week. City Police and OPP have responded to dozens of accidents in recent days, mainly due to icy roads caused by the recent deep freeze. Traffic Sergeant Glenn Porter says, unfortunately, road salt is virtually useless at -15 Celsius or colder. He says all drivers need to slow down considerably, especially when their tires are rock hard early in the morning. And he reminds motorists that any collision with either an injury or combined damage of $1,000 or more must be reported. Drivers should make sure they collect all the pertinent information from the other driver at the scene and be patient if they encounter a lineup at the self-reporting center.
If you are among those who gamble by continuing to drive with a suspended license, your odds just got a whole lot worse. That's because the OPP are developing special scanners on 27 of their police cruisers, including 3 that will be stationed in the Northwest. Mark Carcassole explains how they work.
Infrared cameras on OPP vehicles are nothing new. They've been in use for a few years now, automatically scanning various license plates on the road around them for expired tags, theft reports, and more. And as of now, they can find out with 92% accuracy if you or someone around you is driving with a suspended license.
We really think this technology is going to help us a great deal.
There will also be more equipped vehicles on the highways. The OPP fleet of 4 is growing to 27 province-wide, 8 in the GTA. Here's how it works, as demonstrated by Sergeant Brian Humber in this simulation video provided by the OPP. The camera gets a hit on a plate related to a suspended license.
High priority alert.
It's during the traffic stop that police will determine whether they've stopped the right driver and so on. OPP officials say about 250,000 licenses are suspended every year in this province for Highway Traffic Act and criminal code offenses. And they say suspended drivers pose a significant safety threat, with a little over 2% of fatal crashes attributed to them.
It's important to be able to target those drivers that continue to drive. They pose a threat on our highways. They're dangerous to other drivers.
With this new technology installed, the OPP says that officers can scan about 25,000 plates over the course of a 10-hour shift, greatly increasing their odds of catching suspended drivers. The Canadian Civil Liberties Association is okay with it as is, but will be keeping a close eye on the technology in the future to ensure your privacy is protected.
Well, this is a technology that we really need to watch very carefully. We know it can be used as a mass surveillance tool. It can pick up millions of hits every year and retain them in a database.
The OPP says all data retrieved from plate scans is deleted within minutes if a driver's not on their list. Privacy Commissioner Ann Kavukian has expressed support for that practice. Mark Carcassol, Global News.
Higher gas taxes, a hike in the HST, and increased corporate taxes are being suggested to help fund public transit in the Greater Toronto and Hamilton area. A government-appointed panel says Ontario should hike the gas tax by up to 10 cents a litre, along with other levies to help raise the billions needed for public transit expansion. The panel's report says the gas tax increase would cost the average household by about $80 in the first year and $260 after 8 years. But it says funds raised outside the GTA would go to fund projects outside the GTA.
Thunder Bay residents got a chance to pay their respects today to Nelson Mandela.
To celebrate what Mr. Nelson Mandela meant to the world and to us.
St. Paul's Anglican Church hosted a memorial service this morning. Meanwhile, Jenkins Funeral Home has created a book of condolence for attendees to sign, which will be sent to the Mandela family. The service was held to commemorate the achievements of the South African leader who died last week and remember what he has given us.
Nelson Mandela was just such an inspiration to all. I mean, I grew up with going to school and reading his poems, and some of those tough times, you know, when you just kind of need something to read, and you read, and it's inspired me through my life. So today was one of those things that's saying, okay, we can give a little bit back.
The importance of Nelson Mandela to the world, how he brought peace to where nobody knew peace before, how he looked after solving issues such as poverty and stuff like that.
The Book of Condolence will remain on display at Jenkins Funeral Home until noon Tuesday for local residents to sign.
The United Way received a huge boost today from the city's municipal employees. With 3 weeks left in their 2013 campaign, the organization received a check that was higher than the total they were expecting. Cheryl Holmes has more.
Well, city employees came through with a bigger donation than expected for the United Way, raising $219,561 for the 2013 campaign.
Our goal this year was $199,600, so we're almost $20,000 more than our goal. And I'm so happy that the employees have pulled together because the need is ever increasing in our community.
1 in 3 families across Thunder Bay accesses services and agencies funded by the United Way. 4 checks were donated and tallied today. The donations come from city employees, members of Superior North EMS, the Thunder Bay DSAB, and the Thunder Bay Public Library. Pollard says the city campaign always seems to capture the imagination of municipal employees who give generously and from their heart.
You know, people can put a face on the need. Generally in our workplace, most of us know people or, you know, friends or family that have accessed the services. And it's dollars are local. We can see the benefit local. It's part of making our community a great place.
Well, with 3 weeks left to go in their 2013 campaign, the United Way is still nearly $1 million away from their fundraising goal of $2.7 million. However, representatives from the organization say, well, they're thrilled to see this number.
It's really great because you know, we haven't been experiencing that across the board, so it's really a testament to the commitment of the people who've contributed to this campaign. We're very thankful for their efforts.
Donations can be made to the organization by visiting their website. Cheryl Holmes, TBT News.
How many groceries can you fit into a police cruiser? Apparently that depends on you. The Regional Food Distribution Center is teaming up with the OPP, City Police, the RCMP Police, and as well as Railway and First Nations officers for the 2nd annual Stuff a Cruiser event. That food drive was announced at the Metro store at Grandview Mall today, and everyone involved is hoping to make it a big success.
I know that we deal a lot with Shelter House, we deal a lot with the RFDA, and I'm hearing through them that the numbers are significantly up this year. It's not a good year.
Our goal is to make sure everybody in our communities has food on their table over the festive season. Last year, we collected over 9,000 pounds of food. which supported the RFDA well into the Christmas holidays and well into the early winter months.
Now, city residents can make donations this Saturday at the Real Canadian Superstore, the Safeway, or the Metro Store on Arthur Street, and as well at the Metro at Grandview Mall.
An Alice in Wonderland themed float was a big winner with spectators during the Rotary Christmas Parade last month. And that parade float was put together by Experienced Dance. The unique design included a large teapot that spouted steam. Karen Jardine says 25 people worked to make the float. And for their first time, it was a big success, winning the Governor's Choice Award.
The idea was based on our recital theme for this year is Alice in Wonderland. So a whole bunch of our dancers got to dress up as the main characters, like the Cheshire Cat and Alice and the Mad Hatter and Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
Other award winners included T-Baytel with their gingerbread house and telephone booth, complete with a large inflatable snowman inside. The Thunder Bay Boy Scouts also won an award for their Jungle Book themed